How have I not heard of Ford City Mall in Chicago? It's got so much criminal activity that the city is claiming that they need to shut it down because there's dangerous conditions inside. But ultimately, it's a magnet for crime. Don't go after the criminals. Shut the mall down. Let's get into it. Here we go.
The city of Chicago is looking to shut down Ford City Mall. The law department filed an emergency motion asking a judge to force all tenants and occupants to vacate the shopping center by Friday. The city says the mall's fire suppression system is broken and giant leaks in the faulty system may have compromised the structural integrity of the building. The mall's owners have until Thursday to respond to the lawsuit and notify its 16 remaining tenants.
Ford City Mall, it's nostalgic to some, an eyesore for others, and in recent years, it's also been a magnet for crime.
Well, a lot of stores here at Ford City Mall decided to close after that Foot Locker employee was shot by a gunman just a few hours ago. Now, all this unfolded around 1 o'clock this afternoon inside the store, inside this Southwest Side Mall. We're told by investigators who were told by witnesses that this 22-year-old employee was being harassed by this man, the shooter that came in. At that point, then the shooter pulled out a gun and shot this 22-year-old employee 6 times. He shot him twice in both arms and twice in the lower back.
And now the city is talking about removing it to make way for an industrial development. The mall has seen less foot traffic, fewer stores, but according to a court case, more hazards on the inside.
A ring of fire, spectators, and cars doing stunts. It all caught the attention of so many when this crew of nearly 100 blocked Lower Wacker Drive over the weekend. It's here where these images from March also show rings of fire, a packed parking lot, and cars doing donut. But the crowds and danger that come with it do not go away. And there are plenty of close calls like this one from 71st and Pulaski from over the weekend, where you see a car hit someone. Police Superintendent David Brown talks of action.
So we are looking into who we can hold accountable there, but I think that speaks more to we need to add more resources to our downtown, particularly during those overnight hours.
According to the lawsuit, the city of Chicago has filed a number of cases against the debtor for building code violations. An inspection in 2023 found 115 violations, including large cracks and bulging in foundations, failure to maintain elevators, failing roofs, failing exterior walls, broken windows, ripped screens, missing smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, missing emergency exit signs, and an expired fire extinguisher. In recent years, it's been the scene of street takeovers. Ford City Mall may be at its end, and shoppers can see that.
So the city of Chicago basically has said, this mall is a no-go. Number one, we know that we can't really preserve public safety here. Plus, the mall, you heard that long laundry list of problems. I mean, how about the expired fire extinguisher? Boy, that's a shocker, right? Now you got you've got a mall that's got a little bit of deferred maintenance. It's just got a scooch of deferred maintenance. It's a fixer-upper. It's a diamond in the rough. It just needs a little bit of vision and it could get there. Now you got a situation where you've got crime out of control. And then because of criminal activity, nobody really wants to go to the mall because you might get shot. And I'm not being facetious there. I'm being, you might get killed. We heard the stories of people being murdered at the mall. One dude got shot twice in the arm, twice in the other arm, twice in the back. I mean, this is insanity, just absolute out of control. So what's the city do? Well, don't have too many options. Let's go ahead and shut her down. Let's go ahead and shut her down. And this is how that works. Ford City Mall might be closing after the city says it poses safety risks to patrons. And you know what? Let's go ahead and I want to show you where this is on the map so you can kind of get an idea. Here is Dalton, the Supermare, Riverdale. There we go. There's my yellow guy. Dalton is here. Mall is here. and you are from Dalton to the mall, it's about 17 miles, and it is to the south and west of downtown Chicago. So there is your geography lesson. So customers say the mall isn't as busy as it used to be. There's a shocker. People getting killed there, people getting run over in the parking garage after hours. You know, where are all the parents of these kids that are just roaming throughout Chicago? Where's the parents? Where are the parents? Where are the parents in all this? You know, you just don't hear that. But they would miss it if it were to close, the residents are saying, customers. A developer wants to build new industrial buildings in its place. When you have industrial buildings replacing what was once a vibrant mall with massive generation of taxes, that's when you know things are on the downswing or at the bottom. A bunch of industrial buildings. All right. I want to have some of those big loading bays and we're just going to build a bunch of stuff here. We're going to store a bunch of stuff here. It's going to be a bunch of concrete buildings. No, none of this mall stuff. None of this coming in and buying stuff. We got industrial uses going on. It could close indefinitely now that the city of Chicago is seeking an emergency motion to vacate due to hazardous conditions inside. Were they really that hazardous? I mean, come on. People have been shopping there for years and decades, right? Is it really that bad? Or is it just that you can't control crime? So, all right, can't control the criminal element, shut her down. Kind of seems like that's what's going on, right? It's a city that's out of control. It's a city that doesn't have any cause and effect as far as criminal activity and incarceration. We've gone the opposite way, haven't we? Now cities like Chicago are paying the price. And this shopping mall, in any other city, you're going to do whatever it takes to preserve your shopping malls. Because shopping malls are a vibrant part of the community. They're like grocery stores. Don't let people ransack your grocery stores. You'll end up with a food desert. See a lot of that going on in big blue cities as well. But when you've got a mayor of Chicago that's basically just an absolute moron, that trickle-down effect happens. You've got people like the super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, running around doing their thing. You got parents not really involved in disciplining their kids. And you got a bunch of criminals just running around shooting each other. It's no wonder that money isn't being put into the mall. It's like, you going to fix it up? Nah, because you don't have enough tenants. You're barely covering whatever payments you're making, if you're making payments. The shoppers say it is lacking, but if it were to close, they would miss it. We're going to miss this place to come and do our burnouts, come and do our drifting. That whole thing. We're going to miss a place where we can just shoot people at the mall willy-nilly, just unabated. There's a sale. Another store is closing at Ford City Mall. There are fewer shoppers, too. Fort City Mall is about half vacant these days, 50% vacancy factor. That's not good. That's tough. Now, there is a retail crisis happening in the United States. Across the United States, all malls are struggling, but they're not 50% full like this one. The fountain is still running, but the escalators are not. Escalators are expensive to fix. I was just talking with one of my real estate brokers, and we have a unit in a 10-unit condominium project, and it has an elevator issue this is 10 condo units, right? Not huge. They're mostly, I think, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's in Seattle. It's in Greenwood area of Seattle, kind of north of downtown by 6-7 miles, something like that. And the estimate on the one elevator was going to be $200,000 to fix. It's like, what kind of problem you got going on there? Had to do with the motor, had to do with the concrete foundation. It was just one of those things. So, when you're dealing with big kind of more industrial use, elevator, escalator, any of that stuff, super expensive. But what are you getting? What are you getting for rent for at least half of these stores? 50% vacancy factor. You're still taking some money in. Now, they're probably not making payments to their lender, probably pocketing the money, and they are running this out as best they can. See when the city, times them out. But to have a city step in and say, oh, yeah, no go, guys, you're out of here. So we got a story of Emery Wilson. She was shopping for a prom dress. Mall was very empty. There's not many stores in there, not many food options. There's nothing in there. Kind of sounds like the mall in San Francisco, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Remember when Panda Express was the last store in there, last restaurant in there? Just went to the very bitter end, and there was like nobody in there. City claims the mall's fire suppression system is out of service. Those are kind of optional, right? You got a big fire, well, insurance money. There was flooding and exposed wiring. Oh, okay. That's not good. That's not good. All hazardous to the public. No, you know what's hazardous to the public? People shooting members of the public in said mall. That's hazardous because you might not live. A little bit of flooding, get some water on your ankles. Okay, ruin a pair of shoes. Exposed wiring. Yeah, you get a shock. If you're not a dummy, you release the wires as you get shocked and move on with your day. But the property could rise as something new. Alderman Derrick Curtis of the 18th Ward. He's informed residents in a letter that a developer wants to build 4 new industrial buildings, 913,000 square feet, 923 parking spaces, and 92 loading docks. See, there you go. Distribution center. Modern warehouses, distribution, and light manufacturing uses. From a shopping mall to that. Poof, that's a downfall. Area residents signed a petition to protest the industrial development. We don't want this in our neighborhood. NIMBY, not in my backyard. I kind of like this mall. Why close it down? Well, it's got some safety issues, and you might get killed there. What's his, Gino? I've been shopping here since I was a little kid. Probably not much longer, though. Get that shopping in. Get that shopping in. Now you got to go even further to another mall or store to shop, and this is pretty convenient. But look at this big old area parking. Like I said, it's a shame. That's part of the problem when I started looking at the footage. It's got a massive, massive parking lot. I mean, that bad boy, you could do donuts in there, and you could have 4 or 5 guys doing quarter-mile donuts in there and not run into each other, right? Police have been actively patrolling around the mall because you've got unabated criminals just doing their thing. Here's that story. Man shot 6 times inside Foot Locker store, police say. And the crime stories on this bad boy just go on and on and on. So this one particularly bad because this guy died. Many stores inside the mall closed Friday. When was this? 2021. Okay, so this was after the massive rise in homicides across the United States. And that was because when you tell police to back off in the wake of George Floyd, Fentanyl Floyd, police back off, criminals march into the Foot Locker store and but they do that 6 times. 6 times. Criminals were emboldened. Murderers were emboldened. We had a massive spike in murder and crime because, it was the fault of police for all this. Those bad police. And you actually start looking at the number of people that are shot by police. I mean, it is a tiny, tiny little fraction of innocent people killed by police. I mean, you start drilling down on that. That storyline is just absolute nonsense. And then you have a big spike, and then you've got man shot 6 times instead of inside a Foot Locker store. I mean, just absolute craziness. You know what? This is a separate incident. This is a separate shooting incident. In the spring of 2023, Martinez and Perez had booked a vacation to Mexico to baptize Zelaya. He was shot and killed 4 days before they were supposed to leave. On that fateful day, Martinez said Perez had called her, worried that 2 men were following him, trying to steal my car. I let him know, okay, call the cops, don't do anything. She said she did call the police, ended up at the Ford City Mall parking lot where she said the man shot him in the face. That one's kind of a random one but it happened at Ford City Mall. How about this one? This is 2013. I mean, we're going back 13 years here. Chicago police officers inside the mall, but witnesses say they were simply outnumbered. Signs were thrown. Vehicles were damaged in the parking lot. As many as 20 people were arrested. 2 people were treated for minor injuries. Video posted on YouTube shows a fight outside Ford City Mall. It's like a mob scene, just jumping on cars, breaking windows. 4:45 on a Saturday afternoon. The event had wrapped up when mall officials saw a group of about 30 young people beginning to cause trouble. They started jumping on these couches that we have inside the mall. Security told them to calm down. I left my sign inside the store where it had a logo and everything, and they picked that up and threw it at people. They were throwing it at security, police, kids, anything. Anything they found, they picked up and started throwing. This is a riot. You've got a riot at the mall. Not uncommon. And then kids just started going crazy. There was like gang members there. Shocker. Chicago, gang members. Whew, didn't see that one coming. They jumped on top of cars. They stopped traffic. They busted a lady's windshield in the back of her car. They knocked the rear view mirrors off. That is what I believe Democrats would refer to as mostly peaceful rioting. Mostly peaceful rioting. They were throwing snow at the police. Anything you can think of, they were doing that. It's horrible. It's like young kids. You get an opportunity to meet one of your favorite stars, and look at how you react to that. Officials say there were no reports of theft at any of the stores. Just a bunch of rioting. I mean, some wild stuff. Some absolutely wild stuff. And the fact that city officials want to close it down because they've got an option for an industrial park. They're doing an industrial park. Knock down the shopping mall, put up an industrial park. Think of the tax revenue implications of that, right? You got dozens and dozens and dozens of stores. Now you got half of dozens and dozens of stores. But that's still got all that sales tax generated at the mall. Got to be significantly more revenue than 4 buildings of an industrial park. So the liability of this park, and maybe the structural component of the building as well, but the fact that you've got a situation where so much criminal activity has been pointed at this building, and the city is saying, hey, not safe for people, and it's not safe for people. Other people might shoot people. People might be physically impacted inside the mall because the mall is not structurally safe. You are seeing parts of Chicago in absolute decline, just like you are in Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, New York City. You're seeing where there's lack of revenue, lack of ability to hire enough police, criminal activity that runs absolutely unabated. And Chicago, I mean, we've known Chicago for years and years has been a haven for criminal activity. And then, we followed HeyJackass.com Chicago. We followed the murder rate. And for a long time there, every couple of minutes, somebody was getting murdered. They were just getting murked, killed. The mall doesn't sound like it's going to be around for much longer. Crazy times. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe. That notification bell. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.